not going to get a second chance in the game.
Hi guys, Tim Robinson here. I'm the pass game coordinator at Illinois College in Jacksonville, Illinois. Today I'm in beautiful Champaign in the Chief Pigskin headquarters in Nate's office. Got an opportunity to come here and talk some ball with y'all. Today we're going to talk about something we call at Illinois College OTM, or on the move. It's quarterback on the move, a little bit of moving the launch point. Today we're going to focus on our sprint out game that is very fundamental to us and very important to us as we game plan for every week. So off we go. The first thing I kind of want to discuss is why we do this. Why is the sprint out game so important to us? And it goes back to the fundamental philosophy of our program, and that's the +1 advantage. That's a pillar of our team. What that means is we always want to be one more man at the point of attack than the opposition. So by moving the launch point, by rolling the quarterback, whether it's right or left, we're not only going to be able to stretch the field vertically with a pass threat, we're also going to be able to add a threat in the run game, because our quarterbacks are trained like fullbacks and tight ends and linebackers. They're trained to use their legs and take hits, and that's how the mentality we want them to have as we move forward. So the +1 advantage, that's a pillar of our team. That's one of the main reasons why we do this. Also, we like to, as an offensive unit, we like to attack the perimeter. Okay, any opportunity we get to get outside and get to what we call the numbers or the sidewalk area, okay, that's what we're going to do. And that forces the big bodies inside, okay, your defensive linemen and your more stout inside linebackers to change direction. Okay, we all know those guys can plug up the run, they can move downhill, that's their main job, but we want to get them changing direction. The more often we can get them to stick their toe in the ground, the better it is for us, the more we can keep them guessing. And we want to garner second level respect from those guys. We want to make those linebackers respect us not only as a valuable run threat at the quarterback position, but also they need to be thinking that I need to stretch out my zones in the pass game. So that's very, very important. The third point here is keep the rush guessing. This allows us, in the sprint out game, or even if we're running boot action or naked, you'll see here in a couple minutes some video clips. We can change our protection, all right, and that allows us to be a little more aggressive up front, and it keeps those big dudes up front on the defensive line moving and not stressing one point the entire time, or the entire time they're playing us in the game. And this allows us to be more aggressive in the vertical pass and the vertical run. So if we got those guys guessing and moving in different directions, we'll be more able to attack down or in between the hashes with the vertical run and the vertical pass, which is also essential for us as a program. How do we do it exactly? Like I said, sprint out, that's what we'll be focusing on today. That's straight roll, straight boot by the quarterback. Okay, no action, as you see in the next couple points. Action boot is a protected fake, so we'll open palm fake with the quarterback, show leather. We're going to look that back into the line of scrimmage, fake the defense out with our eyes, and we're not going to leave the ground. That's a very, very important point for both action boot and naked boot. We don't want to leave the ground because we can't move without our feet on the ground. It's the same thing when you're coaching a wide receiver. You don't want him to necessarily jump up in the air to catch a ball. That's unnecessary to jump for. You want to keep his feet on the ground. So we'll sprint to it. We'll action boot, which is protected. We'll protect the quarterback with a tight end or a back or a pulling lineman. Also naked boot, which is unprotected. Okay, now the quarterback, we're relying on the flow of the defense to pull those backside defenders in with our run fake, all right, and get behind them on the boot action. And that means that you have to be strong in the run game. Okay, you have to establish a strong run threat in order for that to work, which we are very good at. And one of the biggest philosophies that Coach Travis James, our offensive coordinator, and myself like to convey to the guys is we're going to keep everything simple. Okay, football isn't as much about the complex schemes that are always changing this and that, but how you teach them. So in the boot game and the sprint out game, we keep it very, very simple. Single word tags to change who is occupying which area. Okay, and that can be in 3x1, that can be in 2x2. Okay, but we use single word tags to say we might want the third wide receiver, number 3, to occupy the flat. Okay, the number 2 to occupy our vertical threat, and number 1 to occupy the intermediate, or vice versa. Number 1 can occupy the flat, number 3 can occupy the intermediate, and number 2 can still be that vertical threat. It doesn't matter. It's all one-word tags. Okay, so we'll call the protection, we'll call one word. Everyone on the field knows exactly what they're doing. Keep it very, very simple. And the reason we're able to do that is because we start with base rules. Okay, very simple base rules in the development of our playbook. 3x1 rules and 2x2 rules. So the guys know if we're booting to the 3x1, what everyone's doing. If we're booting to a certain side of the 2x2, everyone knows what they're doing. From there, we can motion, we can shift, we can do all of these things, all right, and your rules stay generally consistent, okay, until we tag it with one word, then everyone's on the same page. Very, very simple. That's how we can go fast. That's how really we can control the tempo, all right? That's very, very important in our teaching. Something that people always ask me about are the quarterback mechanics. Okay, hopefully we'll have another opportunity to talk about wide receiver play here in the near future. Today, focusing on the quarterback. When we're in our sprint game, okay, a lot of folks like to count, okay, either on your 5th step or your 7th step of that J pattern, that's that boot pattern that the quarterback's running, that ball has to be out. We do not want our quarterbacks counting. We want them to be thinking about rhythm. Okay, you have to throw the ball in rhythm. And for all of our quarterbacks who are righties, that will be a point when their left shoe is in the ground. Okay, a point when their left shoe is in the ground. And we'll keep this rhythm by either clapping or shouting. And I will do that behind them as they are progressing through drill work. Okay, so whether you want to clap, okay, so we'll clap every time that left shoe should hit the ground. So it'll be left, right, left, right, left, right. Okay, he knows on that clap, one of those claps, that ball has to be out. I don't want to limit his decision making by telling him a ball has to be out on the 5th step or has to be out on the 7th step. He's thinking in rhythm, and that takes practice, man. That takes practice. Reps, reps, reps. Okay. You heard me talk about a little bit a minute ago that all of our quarterbacks are righties, so our left shoe has to be in the ground, okay, when we're throwing that ball, okay, and when that shoe hits the ground, that ball is out, and that shoe should be pointing, that left shoe should be pointing right inside the target line that we're throwing it, right inside the target line. Our follow through with our right shoe and our arm, okay, that'll bring us back to neutral and put that ball right where it needs to be, hopefully through the chin of the moving wide receiver. We call this uncoiling. Okay, we call it uncoiling. We want this motion to be moving around our core, okay, and we're going to uncoil and deliver that ball. And the way we can make sure that that's happening is our quarterbacks are going to chase that ball downfield. Okay, at a couple of the last clips you're going to see here, you're going to get a very good idea of what I mean. You're also going to see somewhere the quarterback doesn't follow his ball. Okay, but we want that quarterback, after he throws that ball in drill work, okay, to physically run downfield and grab that ball from the wide receiver. That tells me that his follow-through is on point and he is working back downhill towards his target. That is the whole point of uncoiling when we throw the ball. I also don't standardize a depth of our J, okay, or our actual boot. That's going to change according to down and distance and the concept, okay. We want our body to be in position to make a play. So if we need to get a first down and it's 3rd and short, 2nd and short, 4th and short, whatever it may be, we do not necessarily, and we know we're going to the flat, okay, we know we're going somewhere to get past that stick. We don't want to come all the way back and get our 2.5, 3 yards of depth from the gun, all right, and lose that target and lose timing. Okay, we're going to stay flat, half yard of depth, and we're going to throw that ball. Same thing if we're looking at an intermediate target or a deep target. Now we're going to have to get our 2.5 yards of depth so we can get those shoulders working downfield and uncoil to deliver an accurate ball down to the intermediate or to the vertical threat. All right, so we want to work smarter, not harder. Okay, smarter, not harder. We drill this stuff twice a week. Okay, we generally give the guys 3 different targets, a shallow route, all right, an intermediate route, and a vertical threat. Okay, we'll start the wide receivers in stationary position, so they'll stand. I'll cue them on when to raise a hand or raise both hands, and that's where the quarterback will throw the ball. We'll move to a jog from the wide receiver break point. Okay, from the top of the wide receiver stem, we call that the break point. All right, to position where he's going to catch the ball. We'll jog, then we'll go 100 with the wide receivers. okay? We'll bring them in from their individual work, and we'll actually run the OTM going in both directions with every quarterback and every wide receiver. This is all reactive, okay? I will tell, or the coach behind the quarterback will tell who is getting the ball. So the quarterback won't see it. He has to react to the open man. Hands will come up, all right, and we'll throw them the ball. Reaction is key to this whole thing. In this regard, another one of our fundamentals here as a quarterback is being decisive. Indecision means the death of a quarterback. Okay, you do not want to be indecisive. You have to make a decision. All right, we are firm believers that great timing can offset minor inaccuracy issues. Okay, that being said, the quarterback always has to know that in our sprint out game, he can use his legs. And this all goes back to training, like I said earlier. We are always going to train those quarterbacks like tight ends or linebackers or running backs or fullbacks where they can use their legs and be aggressive in the sprint out game. And that's the +1 advantage right there. Okay, so let's get moving on some film here. This is going to be a very basic route for us. Okay, here by number 2 down at the bottom of the screen, we're going to get a little fan route. We're going to get a vertical by number 1. Some people will call this, the NCAA route. Almost everyone runs this. We're going to get turn back protection from the offensive line. All right, tailback is going to come and take care of the first thing off the edge. So we'll watch this progress here. Okay. Here comes that simple route. We get a little bit of a hesitation here by our second level defender here in the alley. But here comes our simple little fan route. Throw him the ball, get upfield, right? Simple yardage. Now, if we like this matchup down here, okay, if we like the matchup of this kid on this kid, all right, we give the quarterback open access to take this vertical shot again. Again, that depends on down and distance and situation, the time of the game, and what's going on. But that is obviously always an option. This is a very, very simple concept. Again, one word tells everyone what they're doing. Okay, we knew what we were going to have. We liked it. We took it, and the chains are moving. All right, here's a different formation. Now we're in 11 personnel. Okay, we're going to motion. All right, we're going to motion to a 3-by-1. Again, one word telling everyone what to do. All right, we call in the motion. Here he comes. Okay, now you can see our quarterback in this picture gets a little more depth. All right, gets a little more depth than he did in the last picture. All right, he's at about that 3-yard mark I spoke of earlier because he knows now he's going to have a legitimate intermediate threat by this kid right here and a vertical threat by this kid right here. Okay, so he's in full boot. He's going to get his shoulders back around. All right. Luckily enough, we get that flat. We motioned this kid. We knew they were going to play some man here. Okay, so this defender here, number 35, has got to run through all this nonsense, all right, to get to his guy. We use the easy fan route again. Okay, we get some fancy footwork by our wide receiver on the sideline here and pick up another first down. But if we go back, you'll notice, okay, the path of the quarterback on this first play. All right, knowing the down and distance, look at how flat Blake's path is here. All right, only gains about a half-yard depth. All right, and delivers the ball compared to this play here where Drew is going to get a little more depth. All right, to be a more viable threat throwing the ball downfield. Okay, right here, another concept we run again. It's a one-name tag, or a one-word tag. Or we see something we like, leverage out here on the outside. Okay, so we know what we got. Okay, we also know the down and distance. So we knew we were going to get retreat here from our corner. All right, this corner is in full retreat. All right, so we like this little smash concept. Okay, we're going to let this kid run his 5-yard hitch, turn around, catch the ball on the sideline, pick us up a first down. All right, very, very easy completion. Okay, this route right here, always a threat, the corner on the smash. All right, always a threat if we need a man beater. But again, knowing the down and distance, one tag, all right, gives us a simple smash, and we're off and running. All right, first down, Blue Boys. This is another concept that we got to a little bit later in the year. Okay, we're going to roll left now. Okay, you're going to see Blake getting the call from the sideline. Another motion now from 2x2 10 personnel. Okay, here comes our motion man. All right, Blake gets a little more depth. Now rolling to the left, he knows that he's really going to have to coil himself to uncoil going to the left. Okay, so he does a great job gaining depth in the backfield. All right, and cranking those shoulders around. Right here, we're going to run All right, again, another tag, so you're going to get that little flat route by 3 here. You're going to get a vertical threat by 2 here, all right, pulling this backer, all right, and getting this safety's eyes on him, and you're going to get a comeback by number 1 to the outside. Again, one-word tag, okay, tells everyone what they're doing. So now our number 1 is going to hold that intermediate part of the field, okay. There he comes open, does a great job at his break point, breaks off this corner. We get a good delivery of the ball on the sideline. All right, first down. Now we're in the red zone in great scoring position. Great play by everyone involved. And we're moving. Okay, now this is a clip. Again, you're going to notice a little bit different concept. 1's going to hold the flat. Okay, 2's going to be vertical. All right, and 3 is now going to be that intermediate route runner. Something you're going to notice here is if you're going to toy with some of these concepts, you got to make sure your receivers know that they can't be rerouted. You cannot be rerouted. Okay, you're going to see number 2 here get contact by the outside linebacker. That's no good, right? We want him to run right through this kid's armpit, pump that arm right through, and keep going vertical, because look what he's doing to this kid now, right? He's holding that area. We got to get out of there, man. Your job is to get vertical and get out of that area, because now you're delaying, all right, what we call this sweat cut right here. But 1 does a great job. We knew these corners going into the week were going to give us what people would think is a traditional cover 4 or quarters kind of look from the corners, right? They're going to tilt in. That means his eyes are here, his chest is facing the middle of the field. So we call this area right here the blind spot. That's what we want to take advantage of. We need to get him to flip his hips. He's got no option. All right, he's got no option. So we need to work that blind spot. All right, attack his leverage. We're going to post up right there inside, spin back to the sideline. Again, another easy completion. Okay, on the sideline, all right, working that blind spot of a cover 4 or quarters corner, okay, knowing that he's going to be tilted inside. This one gets cut off, and I apologize for that, but this is a great view of our quarterback uncoiling and following his ball downfield. That's why I wanted to put this clip on here. Now, this is the same play we just ran, okay, different side of the field, different opponent a little bit later in the season. You're going to get that sweat cut here by number 3. You're going to get a vertical by 2, and you're going to get an option route by number 1 here. Okay, working that sideline area. You're going to see our number 2 does a much better job ripping through this kid right here, this outside linebacker. There he goes. Here comes our sweaty, all right, wide open. Our option route's doing a good job attracting these defenders down here. Okay, there he goes. We know we're going to have him. That ball is out on the sideline. Now, we traditionally like this ball to be caught on the numbers to give him room to work and penetrate the defense. But we're a little bit late, so the kid's forced to run out of bounds. All right, that's something we drill too. But if you watch the quarterback finish here, you're going to see him come into the picture right down here. All right, that's exactly what we drill. There he is, fist pumping, first down, Blue Boys. Right, that's exactly what we want. Cranks his shoulders, delivers the ball, continues to run to get the ball from his teammate. Exactly what we want.